So the other day we did the rear spindles. We put Toyota Camry spindles in the rear of this. Today we're going to be doing the front spindles. So there's a couple things that we have to change, mainly the spindles. But what we're doing is we're pulling the aluminum off, we're pulling the brake calipers off, we're pulling the discs off, we have to adjust the tire rods. The spindles I'm using, we have to re-drill the top hole for the actual strut, but it's not a big deal doing that. We leave the lower ball joint in, we let the caliper hang until we undo this brake line and thread it into the other one. Basically stuff like that. The axles can stay the same. Keep going. So we're just pulling this all apart. All the bolts you take out, except for the caliper bracket, you have to reuse. So the tie rods we will adjust and everything like that as well because the things are different. What we're going to do is we're going to tear this apart. I have a really nice brass hammer, Eddie. We don't care. And what we're going to do is we're going to basically put this on there. As you can see, the one hole I had to re-drill. Now you don't have to re-drill this hole for everything. I only had to re-drill it because the spindles are actually out of an H body going into a W body. But pretty much goes right in there. We had to switch the brake line from the other one to this caliper because this caliper mounts different because it goes from aluminum to steel spindle. It uses the factory bottom ball joint. It uses basically everything from the actual car. It's actually a very easy swap. And cast spindles do not break. Because if you take a look, these aluminum spindles are really thin. As you can see, they start oxidizing quite a bit up here at the top. So when they start rusting, it makes them, well, not rusting, oxidizing. You can see they get brittle. You can see where it's kind of like breaking away. So if you take a bad shot with that, it could actually snap that spindle and take you out of the demolition derby. But so by doing this simple swap back to cast, you're going to make this a much more competitive car, and it's one of the things that we're doing in this. We put steel spindles in the back, and now we're doing the steel spindle swap to the front. We used all the factory hardware, everything goes back in. A lot of my rules actually allow you to do this. Some places don't, but most places do, because there's no actual real custom work. All you're doing is taking one piece off and replacing with another. So it's actually very good for stock class as well. So we're gonna, this side's actually already done, we just have to adjust the tie rods once we're done. But this side here is just starting.
1819. What size is the ball joint?
1819. Okay. You need a shallow socket with the
extension?
And the 90-degree impact tool. Like the swivel bit.
Okay.
So we are just about ready to take this one off, and then we will install the steel spindle. But we'll get right to that, guys. Make sure you come right back. So we got all the front suspension changed out on this thing to steel. We had to drill the top bolt out to fit the steel spindles. We had to adjust the tie rods so that there is no tie rod nut on it anymore, and basically wheeled them in as far as it would go. I was getting a little upset yesterday because the shop was so dirty because there's so much stuff underneath this car. But honestly, I was able to get the shop cleaned up this morning, and I feel much better about it now. We got the steel spindles on the car. We got the tires both facing the same way. And honestly, the thing looks actually a little bit taller than what it did factory. But it's all just factory parts. There you go. It might be sitting taller because there's less weight in the front end and all that. But we have steel spindles on the front. We have steel spindles on the back. That is some of the main things that make this car kind of lose inside the demolition derby ring. So that was kind of some of the stuff I first wanted to address on this was the steel spindles, because they honestly really had to go. Front steel spindles are notoriously weak in these. So by switching them out to steel, hopefully it gives the front of this car kind of a better chance, a much better chance inside the ring. And the rear spindles, they were aluminum as well. They're not as well known to break, but you know what, I figured I wanted to try something a little bit differently. So by putting the Toyota Camry rear spindles on it, it actually gives the back end a little bit more of a fighting chance as well. There's still a lot of work that we have to do to this, a lot of work in the back end, a lot of work in the front end. I kind of started on the wiring last night, but I didn't get super far. I got the computer moved, but I kind of need to join some stuff. I got the rear brakes taken out when I did the rear spindles. That's done. There's a lot more wiring. This looks like a nightmare right now, and honestly, guys, it's not going very good. But it's going to be coming very nicely in the future. I just need to spend a little bit more time on it. Next thing for me to do is the windshield, and then finish up the wiring. And I'll show you guys all that too. But I just want to show you what it looks like sitting on steel spindles, because now with the steel spindles in the front and the steel spindles in the back, it's kind of the #1 thing that takes us out inside the derby ring. Now the next thing is going to be the wiring. So now that we have all the suspension done, we are going to be switching our attention to the wiring and getting that done. But thanks everybody for watching this video. Like I said yesterday, I got a little bit upset and a little bit down because of how the shop was looking, but now that it's all cleaned up, I feel great again. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys back here tomorrow. More work on, I don't even think this is a W body, to be honest. Buick Regal, I think this might be a W body. I'm going to look it up. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you guys back here tomorrow in Zach's workshop.